Yes, West Virginia's 45-3 win over Robert Morris to start the 2025 college football season was not always pretty. But I'm going to explain why I think there were more positive takeaways than negative in that game. And I'm going to show you some numbers that compare that game to some other similar games around the Big 12 and show you just how good West Virginia played compared to some other Big 12 teams. I'm also going to talk about the quarterback position at West Virginia and why in the world some fans think Scotty Fox or Jaylen Henderson should be the starting quarterback, which I think is absolute insanity. We're going to talk about all that, so stick around. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis around the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Yes, West Virginia committed several fumbles in the first half of the game against Robert Morris. Yes, they lost all but one of those fumbles. Yes, they committed way too many pre-snap penalties and too many careless penalties, I guess you could call it, in the game. I agree with all that, and all of that's negative. I'm not hiding from it. But, man, some of the overreaction I'm seeing on social media from some fans just has me scratching my head. I don't think it's most fans. I do think most fans understand that it's game one. I think most fans understand that they did what they needed to do. They covered the spread. And I think most fans understand that this is a brand new team still trying to gel and play together. I think most fans get it, but man, there are a handful of fans, or maybe even more than a handful, that sometimes I question whether they even watch football or not. Because the overreaction to me is just crazy. And then, which we'll get to a little bit more later, but man, when you talk about the quarterback position and some of the overreaction there, how people actually think Scotty Fox or Jaylen should be the quarterback over Nicco, that's baffling too. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's go ahead and talk about West Virginia and their performance. Okay. I'm not hiding behind the mistakes they made. But when you look at how they did overall, both defensively and offensively, compared to other Big 12 teams who played FCS opponents, they stack up with the best, the top of the Big 12, as far as performances against FCS teams. Now, we're not going to take a look at the games that were played against non-FCS teams because I think that's not an apples-to-apples comparison. But let's just look real quick. Up on the screen, you see a spreadsheet I put together. These are all the Big 12 teams that played against FCS opponents in week one. West Virginia obviously played Robert Morris. BYU played Portland State. Texas Tech played Arkansas Pine Bluff. Iowa State played South Dakota. Kansas State played North Dakota. Arizona State played Northern Arizona. Kansas played Wagner. Houston played Stephen F. Austin. And Oklahoma State played UT Martin. Now, when you look at the scores of all these games, now the two that jump out to you obviously are BYU over Portland State 69-0, Texas Tech over Arkansas Pine Bluff 67-7, and then you could even throw in the Iowa State game over South Dakota 55-7. But when you look at the point differential, when you look at the scores, when you look at the offensive and defensive statistics, West Virginia played just as good for the most part as any other team in the Big 12. If you take away the turnovers and the penalties, those are things that are going to get fixed. I have confidence in. It was this team's first game playing together. I'm sure there were some jitters. There are technique things that can be fixed with the fumbles about holding the ball high and tight or protecting the ball better, not carrying it like a loaf of bread. All of that can be fixed. The pre-snap penalties could have just been jitters. It can all be fixed. Let's just dive deeper into the numbers. When you look at West Virginia's margin of victory, 45-3, which is a 42-point margin of victory, it was the fourth largest among all Big 12 teams who played FCS competition. I know on the screen I have third largest written out. That's a typo. It's actually the fourth. BYU defeated Portland State by 69 points. Texas Tech defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff by 60 points. And Iowa State defeated South Dakota by 48 points. But West Virginia's 42-point margin of victory is fourth on that list, despite all those mistakes they made, which are all correctable. It could be technique as far as the fumbles go and how they carry the football, which, again, is fixable. And it's mental mistakes that they can fix within 1 week. And when you look at the points allowed, it's the second lowest out of all these games. They only gave up 3 total points. BYU shut out Portland State. You also see Houston didn't give up any points against Stephen F. Austin. So West Virginia's second. The only one of 3 Big 12 teams that did not give up a touchdown to their FCS opponent. And their margin of victory was even larger than Houston's, because Houston was only able to score 27 points against Stephen F. Austin. And when you look at their offensive output, even with all those turnovers and only having 10 points at halftime, West Virginia was able to put up 625 yards of total offense, which was second among all Big 12 teams playing FCS opponents, behind only Kansas, who put up 630 yards against Wagner. And then the yards allowed was second among all Big 12 schools against FCS opponents at only 123 total yards allowed. BYU, hats off to them, only gave up 53 total yards of offense to Portland State. Now, I understand that not all FCS opponents are equal either. And I don't know enough about all these FCS schools to know which of these FCS schools are the best. I know the Dakota schools are always usually pretty good. But heck, Kansas State was barely escaped against North Dakota. Gave up 354 yards of offense to North Dakota. Arizona State, the defending conference champions, gave up 19 points to Northern Arizona and 331 yards of offense to Northern Arizona. So Mountaineer fans do not need to panic. These games again. Now, does it also mean to play the other side, to play devil's advocate to my own argument here? Is this also cause for celebration? No, it's not. It's not cause for celebration either, because it is an FCS opponent and it is just week 1, and we need to see how they're going to do against tougher competition beginning this Saturday against Ohio. But it's also not cause for panic, because they can clean up those mistakes. And as you can see, other Big 12 teams, for the most part, didn't do any better, and in most cases did worse than West Virginia against their FCS opponents. I'm really proud of the defense and how they played. I talked about that in my post-game reaction show. Giving up only 3 points and 123 total yards, that's a great performance. I don't care who you're playing. And the offense, outside of those turnovers, was able to do everything they wanted to do. All the turnovers were after large gains. And at least 2 of those players who committed fumbles were able to make big plays, or at least very good plays, later in the game. So they were able to shake off those mistakes. So I think when you look at this all the way around, West Virginia played a pretty darn good football game overall. And the mistakes they made are fixable. Am I a little bit concerned about the offensive line? Yes, I am. But I also think that's fixable. By the time we get to week 3, 4, 5 of the season, they're going to be playing much better, in my opinion. Will they be the best offensive line in the conference? No. But they're going to be better. And Rich Rod's going to be able to scheme around the weaknesses. Hey, do me a favor. Go check out my good friends over at Appalachia Digital. If you need a brand new website for your small business, or if you're just looking to get found easier on Google, go check out AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. These are the fine folks who designed my brand new website over at WVSportsChat.com. They did a fantastic job. I love their work. I think you will too. So go check them out. AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. Let them know Couz sent you. Now let's get back to the show. And then let's talk about the quarterback position and why in the world fans think Nicco, some fans, it's not most, but some, think Nicco should be benched for Scotty Fox or Jaylen Henderson. What in the world are you smoking? Did Scotty Fox have a very explosive and exciting run of 55 yards? Absolutely he did. A highlight reel run. Absolutely he did. Scored his first touchdown as a Mountaineer. Completed a pass, was 1-for-1 passing. He played really well. Nicco completed over 80% of it, completed 85% of his throws, was 17 of 20 passing the football with a touchdown, and had the highest PFF grade among all Big 12 quarterbacks who played that number of snaps with a grade of 93.6 overall offensive grade and a grade of 95.4 passing the football, and was the second highest grade among all Power 4 quarterbacks, behind only California's quarterback, whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. But Nicco had the second highest PFF grade among all Power 4 quarterbacks who took at least 18 or had at least 18 dropbacks. It's pretty darn good. Any quarterback that can complete 85%, and fans are saying, well, he's not as explosive in the run game. He doesn't have to be. When you're a quarterback, there's a lot more to it than how good you are running the football. Can you throw the ball accurately? He checks that box. Do you make good decisions with the football? So far, he's checked that box. Do you have command of the offense? Absolutely, he had command of the offense. He looked very comfortable out there. He knew what he was doing. He knew what plays to run. I think for the most part, he made good decisions in the RPO game. He knew where to go with the football. Yes, they only completed one really large downfield pass play, but he wasn't asked to do it. They weren't calling a lot of those downfield pass plays. Coach Rod even talked about that in his post-game press conference. He wanted to do more of that, but they weren't able to. Due in large part to the turnovers, which, by the way, Nicco had nothing to do with. He committed 0 turnovers, made good decisions with the ball, had command of the offense, completed 85% of his passes, ran for 50 yards and a touchdown. No, he's not going to go out here and blow you away with a 4.40 or probably not even a 4.40. But he's a smart runner. He has good vision, and he can run over people if he has to. And he's going to get you 5, 6, 7 yards a clip, which is all you need him to do. All you need him to do. There is in no way, shape, or form anything he's done to lose a starting quarterback job. 0, zilch, nada. And for people to say he doesn't need to start, to me, is just crazy. He's 5-0 basically as a starter at West Virginia. Technically, he's 4-0 because the game against Pitt in 23, he didn't officially start the game, but he came in after like 3 snaps and led the team to victory after Garrett Green got injured. So in my mind, he's 5-0 as a starter. The guy wins. What else do you need him to do? The fact that people think he doesn't need to start is just baffling to me. Sometimes I question whether some of these people even watch football games. I know I'm being facetious there and maybe even a little bit of a smart aleck, but man, come on, use your brain. Nicco played a heck of a game. Coach Rod's got full confidence in him. You can tell that. The fact that he didn't bring Jaylen in when the game was too tight for comfort in the beginning shows you he trusts Nicco more than anybody else. Period. Rich Rod's and his track record should tell you he knows what he's doing when it comes to quarterbacks. Yes, did he start Adam Bednarik over Pat White? Yes, but he's admitted that was a mistake. He's not perfect, but you look at his track record overall, he knows how to evaluate quarterbacks. He knows what he's doing. And he thinks Nicco, as of now anyway, is the best choice to lead this team. And Nicco did nothing but prove him to be right, in my opinion, in that game Saturday. So, but you let me know are you one of these people I'm calling crazy? Let me know in the comment section if that's the case. And let me know what you think about this quarterback situation. And let me know what you think about the team overall. Do you think the fans who are being negative are overreacting? Or do you think there is cause for concern? I'm okay with either opinion. Again, I'm not saying that this team's going to go out here and win the Big 12 based on their performance against an FCS opponent. But I also, when you look at how other teams did against FCS opponents, it's also not time to panic. They did just as good as about anybody else in the league with the exception of 3 teams. So don't panic. Just relax. Enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the win. They're 1-0 for the first time in several years, I think since 2020 or 2021. Enjoy that. Enjoy getting ready for this week's game against Ohio, which, by the way, I'll be doing a couple videos on later in the week. Just enjoy it, man. Stop being negative if you can help it. And that's coming from me, somebody who some fans get mad at for being too negative. But enjoy it, all right? But I want to hear your thoughts. Also, please hit the thumbs up button on this video. Please hype this video. There's a hype button down below. Between the download button and the thanks button is a button called hype. Please hit that button if I'm one of your favorite. If this is one of you, if this is a good video and you like my work, please hit that button. As many hypes as possible helps get my channel and my show pushed out to more and more people. Likes do the same thing. Comments do the same thing. It all helps. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share it with your family and friends. I want to give a shout out to this week's paid VIP members of the show. If you want to be a paid VIP member, hit the join button below or go over to my channel homepage. There's a join button there. I have 2 levels, a $4.99 level and a $2.99 level. The shout outs for this episode are first, two brand new members, Henry of Scallots and Trick No Good. They are brand new VIP members. Thank them for joining. Also want to thank longtime members Cody Cutright and Phil O'Mashers, and also want to thank Shane V, who's also a paid VIP member and has been for quite some time. Again, you can join that club by hitting the join button. Thank you for watching. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf and Q Country Roads.